Hi, I'm Christy. I want to talk to you today about the impact that special needs can have on the individual themselves. As I mentioned in the last video, I'm a little bit surprised that not more people are talking about this because special needs really does have a major impact on the individual themselves and on everybody around them. And it can dramatically change the dynamics of most relationships and of the family. For the individual with special needs, how it will impact them will vary from person to person and from disability to disability. Now, I should note that for simplicity in this video, I will be using he and his, but it could very easily be a female. So to make sure that we're on the same page, I want to define disability. Study.com defines it this way. A disability is any physical or mental limitation. Disabilities may be discovered at birth, or they may result from an illness or injury. Some disabilities last for a lifetime, while others may be short-lived. Physical disabilities limit the ability to move. Examples include the loss of a limb, spinal cord injury, and even arthritis. Mental disabilities impair cognitive functioning and may affect things like memory and learning. Examples of mental disability include autism and traumatic brain injury. Now, the University of Iowa has an article that talks about the factors that impact a person's perception of disability. This article states that, quote, people respond to disabilities in different ways. Some react negatively, and thus their quality of life is negatively affected. Others choose to focus on the abilities and as opposed to their disabilities and continue to live a productive life. There are several factors that affect the impact a disability has on an individual. The following are often considered the most significant factors in determining a disability's impact on an individual: the nature of the disability, the individual's personality, the meaning of disability to the individual's current life circumstances, and the individual's support system. Now, a full explanation of what each of these means can be found on my blog. I did a complete quote there. You can find that at www.havenofhopeforme.com. The blog post originally posted in late February of 2018. Now, I wanted to say that I do agree with these articles. All of them talk about how all of these have an impact on how disability is perceived. But the type of disability impacts how you perceive your quality of life as well. If it's a physical disability, then you're physically impacted and it's harder to do a lot of things, like moving from one place to another or getting in and out of places. Daily activities can be more difficult, and there can be a lot of frustration because of that. In some cases, though, it is possible for interventions to improve the quality of life of the person. Again, a solid support system and a positive attitude and perception of the disability will be improved. If it's a mental disability, it can get a little bit more complicated because this is where cognitive awareness is impacted. Now, if they have a mild disability or mild mental impairment, that means that they're more cognitively aware. They have a higher cognitive awareness. And so they're more aware of issues, they're more aware of how things are going on around them and what differences there may be between them and between others. This can increase their frustration and maybe even their anger level at times. If they have less cognitive awareness, then they may have no cognitive awareness or no concept that there is any difference between them and anybody else. Now, they may still have frustration levels because they can't do everything that they want to do, but the comparison between themselves and others is likely to escape them. A couple examples from our life. My son has mild mental impairment. As he's gotten older, he's become more aware of what he can do, what his abilities are, and what those around him are. So it has started to cause a few issues with him. He can't always explain that he knows those differences, but he'll make comments, or the way he interacts lets us know that he is aware of the differences. He also has some minor physical issues. He has depth perception issues, so some activities are more challenging for him. He has a few coordination issues, so accomplishing tasks can be harder for him or take more concentration. There's not a whole lot that he can't actually do, but there are things that take a whole lot more effort. And so because of that, there are things that he prefers not to do. And there are some things that still completely pass him by and he doesn't even notice. But every once in a while, he'll make a comment that just blows us away, that lets us know, yeah, he's aware of a whole lot of what's going on around him. And he makes these comments and we realize that he's noticed this or he's realized that, and it's just really surprising. He definitely keeps us on his toes and we're always entertained when he's around. There is so much more that I could say, but I don't want to overwhelm you, and so I'm going to stop here for right now. I did include a couple other resources on my blog post. Again, you can find it at www.havenofhopeforme.com. It posted originally in late February of 2018. In there, though, I included an article from the London Health that gives a really good overview of living with disability. Now, all of the supports that they suggest may or may not be available in your area. There's also an article from healthfully.com that talks specifically about physical disabilities and how they can impact a life. As we move into the next video, I want to look specifically at how parents and caregivers are impacted, because I think next to the individual, they're probably the most impacted by special needs and by disability. They find themselves suddenly having to fight battles and addressing issues that they never even thought of. I would love to hear how special needs has impacted your life and the life of your loved one. Do you agree with what I've said? Great. Leave me a comment below and let me know how. Disagree with me? I'd love to know why as well too. Again, leave me a comment below, or you can leave me a comment on my blog. As we continue this journey of living with special needs, I hope that you can agree with me and say that life is good and there is never a dull moment.